You are listening to Girls Nerd Out podcast, covering all things fantasy, fandom, and funny. And here are Amanda and Chris.
Hello, it's me, Amanda, and I am here with my Christopher.
Greetings and salutations to you from me and all my people.
And we're here to talk to you about episode 5 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We're in the battle now. Like, it's crazy, it's grainy, it's dirty, it's whatever. And so it goes like right into it. Dunk gets knocked down and it goes to a flashback. Honestly, I didn't know it was controversial. Apparently, a lot of people didn't like the flashback, or some.
I don't particularly like flashbacks, honestly, in shows. I do, but I don't. It depends.
Yeah.
Because it's like when I was watching Lost. I want to know what's happening on the out. I don't care what these people have been through that shaped them and made them who they are. As soon as a flashback showed up, I'm like, oh, God, can we get back to the island? Every single time. Every single time. So when this happened, I also was like, oh, a flashback. I was hoping it'd be a brief flashback, because so far when they did flashbacks of like Sir Arlen or this or that, it was always brief. It was like, okay, I can handle a brief little montage or a little snippet here and there of a flashback, but this looked like it was going to keep going, and I'm like, oh God. It was interesting. Like, it wasn't terrible. Like, I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I'm like, I'd rather see the battle. I don't really care about when Dunk was a kid. So that was my thing. But it wasn't like it took up half the episode or anything.
It went on a while, though. It's Dunk as a kid in Flea Bottom with his best friend slash in love with this girl named Rafe, who's a very talented actress that was in the Dune series last year. Was it last year? Whenever the Dune series was. And she's a scrappy little thing, and they're at a battlefield, and they're like picking off anything that they can sell off of the dead people, the dead soldiers. They come across one guy, and he's not quite dead, and Dunk's trying to do the nice thing and like kill him, and she's like, what did she say? Because he must have on like a sigil or something.
He has a sigil or something, and she's like,
Yeah.
it's not. Maybe we could ransom him.
And so they try to pull him out from under a horse, and he does anyway. That's how we're introduced to her. And they get whatever they can, and they go back to Flea Bottom, which is absolutely disgusting. And if you've read any of the books, you kind of have an idea of how gross Flea Bottom is. But if you haven't, you might be surprised. It's pretty fucking foul. It's gross, which tracks because it's based on like a medieval city. There's a guy there that's like harassing them. He's like a creeper. He's part of the City Watch. His name's Alistair. I like the flashback. The acting was really good. It's really sad. Rafe is trying to convince Dunk to leave Flea Bottom, and there's a very touching moment where he's like, well, what if my mom comes back and looks for me, even though he knows his mom's passed? And she's like, frustrated with him, but it just shows how bleak it is. And that's how Sir Arlen meets Dunk. The City Watch guy, Alistair, after she steals his dagger, he realizes it, and then there's a fight, and he slits her throat, and he stabs Dunk in the shin, and like Dunk would have died, but Sir Arlen kind of falls out of a door, and you want to talk about it?
Yeah, this part like really confused confused me. Like I didn't understand it because like he, you know, ends the girl and is going for Dunk when all of a sudden Sir Arlen just burst out the door screaming, "Leave the boy alone!" And then he vomits and then starts fighting the guy. It's like, what was he doing in there? Just looking out like a crack in the door, just watching the whole thing take place, and then decide to bust out and defend. It seemed weird because the door is closed, and it's not like he could have been sitting at the window watching or anything. Like it just seemed weird that like it's like he knew what was going on and then immediately just rushed to Dunk's aid. I mean, that part doesn't seem weird because he seems like the kind of guy that if somebody was like, attacking a kid or whatever, he would save them. But it's like he was in the pub or the bar, whatever it is. I'm assuming he came out vomiting drunk. I'm assuming it was like a tavern or something. But like, how did
Yeah,
he know what was going on? Because
no
like
idea.
the second the door opens, he screams, "Leave the boy alone!" It ain't like he walked out, saw what was happening, and then leapt to the boy's defense. Like he came out the door screaming, "Leave the boy alone!" Like it just seemed weird. It's like, what was he watching it on TV?
Right.
Like was he live streaming it? Like he checking the security cameras and then rushed? Like it just seemed weird. Like it seemed like they could have done that better. Like all they would need to do for him to walk out and just kind of stand there, and then you see this guy, attacking a kid, and then he leaps to his defense. That would have been perfect. But this was like, no, so he kicked the door open in a hurry to get out to save Dunk. It's like that makes no sense.
No. He just kind of falls into it and saves Dunk and then just kind of wanders off. And then Dunk doesn't have anything now, like no one. So he starts following him.
Well, because I trust so far anyway, the guy doing the Dunkin' Egg TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this was House of the Dragon,
Mm.
I would seriously, I would not put it past him to be like, Sir Arlen was secretly a Targaryen. He was having a dragon dream and he
Oh,
woke up from
God.
it and then rushed out to save Dunk because he knew in advance what was happening, or it'd be something weird. And I still didn't get the scene at all.
No, but I just had an idea real quick. After we do this, because this isn't going to take that long, do you want to me read the leaks? You want me to do an episode on the House of the Dragon leaks? I read them to you and then you respond. It wouldn't take long. You want to?
It would now that yeah, we could do that. That wouldn't take long.
Would that be fun for you?
That would be fun.
Okay. All right. We'll do this, then we'll do that. Okay. So he just starts following Sir Arlen. They leave King's Landing. And something that happened that a lot of people were talking about is Sir Arlen breaks out into the very long song that Chris was like, "It's Dothraki." I was like, "Are you serious?"
The
And
only the
it
only reason I
is,
noticed that is because I happened to have subtitles on and it kept saying singing in Dothraki. Like
man.
I probably would have picked up on it eventually because some of the words do sound like Dothraki, but I don't think I would have made that connection. I would assume maybe he was singing in like Valyrian or something because like the language would have
He just starts following Sir Arlen. They leave King's Landing. And something that happened that a lot of people were talking about is Sir Arlen breaks out into the very long song that Chris was like, it's Dothraki. I was like, are you serious?
The
And
only the
it
only reason I
is.
noticed that is because I happened to have subtitles on and it kept saying singing in Dothraki. Like
Man.
I probably would have picked up on it eventually because some of the words do sound like Dothraki, but I don't think I would have made that connection. I would assume maybe he was singing in like Valyrian or something because like the language would have sounded familiar, but I just would have assumed it must have been Valyrian or one of the many dialects of Valyrian,
Yeah.
which still wouldn't have made sense. I don't understand why he's singing in Dothraki. That also
No,
is another thing they added that I'm like, why? It seemed like that was strictly just a callback to Game of Thrones because they're like, well, people spoke Dothraki in Game of Thrones. We got to have at least one person doing that as a callback.
yeah. And like most people said since he's a hedge knight that when he was younger, he crossed the narrow sea and worked for a sellsword company. Probably they're coming up with these theories. And my theory was like just a lot easier. I just figured he worked for a lord and there happened to be a random Dothraki there. Cause I mean, I don't think people know that. I mean, like we have record of at least one that crosses over. It's not like it's never happened. Which sellsword company would it have been? I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't have been the Golden Company, that's for sure.
I don't think it would have been the Second Sons.
Well, there's many other lesser companies. Like, well, he
Yeah,
strikes me as the kind of man that would have like kind of bounced around from Sellsword if he was going to do
probably.
that. Like, he'd bounce around from Sellsword Company to Sellsword Company.
Yeah.
Like, that might be why he was so comfortable being a hedge knight because he's fought for gold and then probably kind of was like, yeah, this you get paid, but this ain't worth it. Like, he probably saw how like because the sellswords are notoriously like untrustworthy even amongst their own.
Yep.
Like at one point, Brown Ben Plum tells Daenerys a story about after a battle, he was looting one of the guys he killed and was going through his vest and found out the inside of the vest was lined with just gold bars. Like, I mean, they were thin, obviously, because you have to fit them into a vest, but there was like a bunch of them all on the inside. I guess the guy was paranoid that, you know, the other sellswords would rob him or whatever. So he'd like stowed everything like on the inside where he can keep it on his person at all times. And Brad Van Plum was like, you know, a young, like I think he was a boy at this point, like maybe like 13 or something. And he was really excited because he had never seen that much wealth in his entire life. Like most of the men fighting alongside him probably never seen that much wealth in their entire life.
Yeah.
And he said he made the mistake of telling someone that he mistook for a friend, and that friend immediately went to the captains of the sellsword company, told them, and then they, you know, promptly relieved him of all the gold. They said, a boy your age doesn't need this much wealth because you're like to spend it on whoring and drinking,
Hmm.
and so like we're gonna relieve you of this. But he's like, but they let me keep the vest. It was made of good leather. Uh, and he said the moral of this story, Daenerys, is never trust a sellsword.
There you go.
So even amongst their own, like, you know, like, so chances are he saw like that uh, and just decided, you know, I think I'd rather, obviously continue fighting because that's what he's good at. But he's like, I think I'd rather just sleep out in the open and under trees than with what it would, you know, than live with what, you know, blood money could buy me.
Right. There's one thing I do like though. You know, Sir Arlen and Dunk are very fond of the horses and take really good care of the horses. I wouldn't mind having a little side thought that maybe him spending time with the Dothraki got him like more in tune with horses. Maybe that's why. I
Could
wouldn't
be.
mind that. I like that. I think that's a good idea because like Dunk talks to the horses all the time, and Sir Arlen might have given Dunk a cloud on the ear, but not the horse. neither of them. There's 3 of them. So
Yeah, you could tell those horses were spoiled.
yeah, Scott. Let's see. There's Thunder, Sweetfoot. What's the third one? I can't think of the third one.
Chestnut,
I think you're right.
the red one.
Yeah. I love Sweetfoot though. Sweetfoot's my favorite. So he's following Sir Arlen, and I'm sitting here the whole time going, he got stabbed with that dirty ass dagger. Like he's gonna lose a leg. And he's limping. And he follows him for a long time. And finally, when he collapses, Sir Arlen kind of looks back and walks up to him. And this is really cool. He screams at him to get up. And Dunk, who is passed out in current time in the fight, is passed out. And he hears Sir Arlen say, "Get up." And he sees him. And he opens his eyes, which that was cool. And it's a very muddy battlefield. It's gritty. I'll say this. It's not obviously it's not as many people, but it's gritty like Battle of the Bastards when Jon is literally damn near suffocated. It's muddy. I feel like there's a bit of that in there just
Yes.
because it's like it's not that you're not overseeing the fight. It's POV of a really bad battle. And that was Jon's. And this is Dunk's. A lot of people were disappointed because there's a lot of fighting that we don't see. So I get that. But I do think it's because the story is Dunk's point of view. And I think that's why it was shot like that.
Well, that and they were working on a limited budget.
Yeah.
A very limited budget.
But they did a damn good job with the budget they had.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they did phenomenal.
We do get a lot of cool scenes. We do get to see Raymond kicking his cousin's ass a bit, which is good. And I remember reading about this fight and how many damn hits Dunk takes and just seeing it was brutal. I had my eyes half covered. I mean, like he's stabbed and hit, stabbed and hit. I don't know how many times he gets stabbed. It's a lot.
Quite a few.
Yeah. And he has this really big fight with Aegon. And I mean, like it's a brutal ass fight, man. And then Dunk just gets totally knocked out, and Egg is just screaming for him to get up. Screaming. And like Aegon's like cocky, he's like, yeah, it's over. And Dunk's only got one eye you can see out of at this point. And he opens his eye and he fights. And the thing is, like, he's really strong. And when he sets his mind to something, he's just beating the shit out of Aegon, which is actually satisfying. I didn't mind that at all. I'm a fan of House Targaryen, but not him. He's a little shit. So he gets the hell beat out of him. And I'll give him this. It takes him a long time to yield, too. Arrogant. Apparently, his dad, Maekar, I need to go back and watch it again, but I think there's more than one scene where you see Maekar like looking around because he's stressed about Aerion, and also Daeron, who's just knocked out.
Yeah, Daeron, like, he's like, well, just hit me one time, I'll fall into the mud and just stay there the rest of the fight. So like, yeah, obviously the father doesn't know that. So like, he's probably constantly thinking, is he dead? Is he dead?
Yeah.
Like he's not getting up.
Well, and I think I remember it's a lot. There's a lot going on. And I'm mostly paying attention to Dunk, but I think maybe when Makar's with Baelor, I remember Makar like looking, and he's not looking right at who he's hitting. He's looking for his sons, and I'm wondering if that's when he ends up hitting Baelor in the back of the head.
Could be.
I mean, that would make sense, honestly, because I don't really see I mean, yes, he's taking it seriously, but like I don't see Makar like trying to hit his brother in the back of the head. I just don't see that. So if it was him looking over, distracted because his son's getting his ass kicked, it would make a lot more sense because he feels horrible about it. But after that, Dunk whoops Aaron's ass and drags him over to Lord Ashford and his daughter. And I honestly thought Aaron was going to try to do something slick and, fight more, but he yields. And I mean, it's a victory, but does it feel like a victory? Not exactly, because Dunk's trying to find out who's dead.
I was expecting him to because he told Dunk he yielded, and Dunk's like, "That's all well and good, but you need to say it where everyone else can hear it." So he drags him over there, and he's screaming at him to, tell him what you said, yield.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly was expecting him to either pull like a dagger out of like his waist, like a waist belt or like some hidden compartment, and like
A
get one
la
more hit in
Arya.
there, something like that. Like, I mean, granted, that's not how it went in the book, but like I was expecting them to try and throw something like that out there.
Because he had this look on his face. I just thought he was going to be a little shit and try something.
But mainly, I was expecting him to like say tell Dunk I yield, whatever, and then when Dunk takes him over there, like he holds him up to say it again, and the dude instead just passes out from blood loss or pain or exhaustion, and like he's just laying there. I mean, that still would count as a victory, but like it's less official. But actually, instead of I think he told Dunk he yielded, but when Dunk takes him over, he says he withdraws his accusation, which is even better than saying he yields.
Yeah.
But I also think that could be a pride thing to where he's like, I didn't yield. I just decided, you know what? Maybe I withdraw my accusation. Keep a little bit more of your pride that way.
True.
If you yield, you admit that you were beaten and defeated. But he knew he was beaten and defeated. That's why he was so clear to tell Dunk, I yield, I yield. But when given the chance to present it to everyone else, he's like, I withdraw my accusation.
Well, what people kind of wanted to see, I mean, we do see Lionel fight some. And like I said, Raymond taking his anger out on Stefan.
Honestly, I couldn't tell who was who in the entirety of the fight. The only I knew which one was Arian and which one was Dunk. Obviously, Dunk, but I only knew Sir Lionel too because he had that big antlered helmet, and you kind of can't mistake it. But everyone else, I couldn't tell who was who.
Well, it's because I mean, the only time you can really tell it's Lionel is if you catch the gold, and then everything else is mud. And then when Lionel's muddy, then you just can't tell. But we don't see Humphrey Beesbury or Humphrey Harding fight, and they both die on the field. And then they kind of hyped up Robin Riesling, the mad one-eyed knight, and I kind of thought we were gonna get some crazy out of him, but I don't recall anything that sticks out.
It was off screen crazy for TV.
Too crazy for TV. After that, they kind of go off to the side, and Dunk is asking like, who made it, and of course, like the Humphreys are gone, and oh god, like I knew this was coming. I knew this was happening. Like, and I'm just dreading it and like nervous. Here comes Baelor walking in, and I was just like, oh god. So Baelor has on his son's armor, which means he has on his son's helm.
I was just about to say, like, I wonder because they didn't explain it in the episode. I wonder if they'll explain it in the next episode where typically speaking, like a blow to the head, you'd think it would be more dangerous, and it kind of would be. But the thing is, if he'd been wearing his own armor, it probably that little blow to the head probably wouldn't have done anything but rattled him a little bit, or like just
True.
rung his bell and like knocked him down.
Yep.
Or something. But because he was wearing his son's armor, it wasn't made to fit him. So like the helmet was a little too small. So when he got hit, like
there was no room to absorb anything.
Yeah, it was like straight onto the head, basically.
Yep. And it's so sad. He comes in and you think he's okay, and Dunk's like looking at him, and then he kind of staggers, and everybody's like, oh, and then God, people that don't know are like, okay, well, he's just been through a fight, it's fine. And we have Raymond Fossaway in there with Dunk. And like, obviously people are like, he's the heir. And he's like, I need to get off my helm. And then they look back there, and like you can just see the looks on their face of this is bad. And it's so heartbreaking. The only thing holding Baelor together is the helm. The helm comes off, and so does part of the back of his head. And he's aware enough to literally reach back there. I think he says something like, my fingers feel like wood. And it's like, oh God. He looks at his hand, and he's gone. And like I was crying. You can ask Chris, like I was just sobbing. But like it got so much worse, and Dunk like runs over there, and he's like cradling Baelor, and all he keeps saying is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh God. I knew that was gonna be rough. I gotta give it to him. If they wouldn't have cast the perfect guy to be Baelor, it wouldn't have been nearly as brutal. And it's supposed to be brutal.
I thought it was funny when Steely Pate and the Fossaway guy were going to try and help Dunk. They're like, do like the Maesters do, pour in boiling oil. And I'm like, oh God, no. Baelor comes in and it's like wine. It's boiling wine. Oil will kill him. Which honestly, I don't think the show covered how often they use boiling wine, because it's mentioned like every other page in the books. But now that I think about it, I don't think Game of Thrones ever went into detail. They might have mentioned it once or twice, maybe, but I don't think they went into detail about how often boiling wine was used. And the thing was, I don't know if because at first, like when they say we're going to pour like into the wound, we're going to pour in boiling wine to help. It's because they didn't necessarily, like they were smart enough to know that the alcohol in the wine is going to help. But they weren't smart to be like, we should synthesize this and keep it as its own separate thing, like we do now. Like you just go grab a bottle of alcohol, like strictly for medical purposes. But was the wine still boiling hot, like when they poured it in, or is it a situation where you have to boil it to get out some of the impurities, and then when it cools, you could use it, and it's better than if it was just regular wine? Or does it have to be boiling hot?
I would assume it's probably boiling hot. I do know one thing.
That's what I always assumed. But after I thought about it, I'm like, well, like they could have boiled it and then let it set, because that would probably like help it some, maybe.
I have read enough of either like Arthur. It's either like King Arthur, or like there's several Viking series I love a lot that I've read over and over again. And then, a lot of time dramatic stuff, like I don't know, all different kinds. But I do know one thing they used to do, which is smart but also scary. They would do like onion soup and have them drink it, and then they would smell, and if they could smell the onion, then they would know that the wound pierced the stomach or intestines or something, and that it was fatal. I know
Okay,
that.
that's pretty gross, but effective.
Yeah, that's what they did. Yeah, probably onion, garlic, whatever. They would have them drink it and then wait. And I think that's in more than one book I've read. So there's that too.
Whatever works.
Yeah, but imagine like when you smell it, it's like, ah, damn, it's
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. I think it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I didn't mind the flashback. It didn't irritate me. It didn't go on too long to like get on my nerves. I think they did a great job. Like again, I mean, 9 out of 10. I wish there was more battle.
I'd say the
What?
same. I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Kind of wish there was more to the battle.
Well, there's a different battle, and that battle is on IMDb, and I feel the need to tell people
About the breaking battle.
the breaking battle. So this episode had a 10 out of 10, which has not been done since Game of Thrones. And I had no idea about this, but the Breaking Bad fandom, if another series gets a 10 out of 10, they go review Tank It. And they took this episode from 10 out of 10 to a 9.7. It was 9.8. I think they dropped it to a 9.7. And we
Which
didn't do anything to them. We didn't do
which
anything.
which I liked Breaking Bad. Like it was a really good show. It was one of the few shows that was good from start to finish. It did fall off a little bit toward the end because you go from like the sort of big bad being this uh how would I describe him? Like he's like a big time like drug kingpin, and afterwards, like when he's taken out, like the next season, they kind of fill it in with like some redneck hillbilly like neo-Nazi dudes that just aren't as big of a threat. I mean, it's satisfying to see them, finally get theirs when they are like, taken out. But like aside from that, like the show was pretty good from start to finish. Like it didn't really suffer from that whole, once you get like 3, 4, 5 seasons in, it starts to kind of go downhill a good bit. Like the longer a show runs on, the more likely it's likely to go down. But Breaking Bad, for the most part, didn't do that. And like it had a very satisfying ending, and it started off good, and like the bar just kind of kept only going up and up. It dipped a little bit at the end, but like not much. There's not a whole lot of criticism I could have of it. And I really liked the show. And I don't normally get into shows like that, but it was very good, very watchable. Like you were on the edge of your seat almost at the end of every episode, very similar to Game of Thrones. But again, I couldn't imagine that being my favorite show. But mainly that's probably because that's not really my thing.
Well, I mean, I didn't have any idea about this, but apparently the Breaking Bad fandom, has done this before to other shows that have gotten a 10 out of 10 on an episode. Um, so I find that pretty repulsive because we didn't do anything. I mean, we're just really happy that we've got a great show. So they drop our 10 out of 10 to, I want to see what the final is because the
Because
battle's actually still going on.
yeah, because I noticed
I
the
have an
last time
update.
I've noticed the last time I checked, we had dropped theirs another couple of points.
Yeah, I have an update on that. Okay, so damn, they got us down to a 9.6 out of 10, but that's okay because they're 10 out of 10 episodes. Season 5, episode 14, Ozymandias. It's also at a 9.6.
So like we tied.
Uh-huh. The North
Well,
remembers.
this is a situation where, like, we could have tied at 10, but you guys had to bring it down.
Look, I posted on Threads. If you betray me, I'll burn you alive. Do you think I review bombed them? Yes, I did. I gave them a 1 out of 10 on every episode, every single one. Leave us alone. And this isn't over. If they continue, I think they underestimated us a lot. We've been through way more than you have. Like this is just dumb. This is ignorant. This is literally like we dealt with season 8 and we're still here. We dealt with House of the Dragon and we're still here. We finally get something good and you think you're going to take it away from us and we're just going to sit and just, no. We will continue to tank your episode until you leave us alone. We didn't start it, but we'll finish. We can be vindictive if we have to be. We didn't do anything to them. They're just mean. But I will say this, every other fandom they've messed with, I don't think they've been able to drop any of their episodes. We did. So there's that.
Tell Cersei. I wanted to know it was me.
It was a great episode. I can't wait for the finale. I know it's going to be great. I very much enjoyed this. So we will see you guys next time. So say bye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.
Hey, it's Amanda here. Thank you for listening to my podcast. And if you don't mind, go on over to YouTube and Instagram and follow the podcast there. And that way you'll get alerted the next time an episode drops. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Girls Nerd Out Podcast. Now no one can say you know nothing.